Hello, hello, and welcome. Today is February 6th, 2011. I am Silverfish, and this is Overgrowth Weekly number 8. And today with me is Anton and Markuss. Can you introduce yourselves?
Hello,
Hey, how's it going? I'm Anton.
I'm Marcus.
Yeah, so they will be joining me today. As in the previous shows, Markuss has been with me and just talked about the points on the agenda like one usually does in one of these shows. Anyways, let's just start with this right now. I'm going to switch to the image there so you see what I see. There we go. So first up on this week's agenda, like always, is a look at this week's alpha. So let's do that. And what we do in this part is we take a look at each feature in this list and do a bit of commenting on it. And also I'll show them off in the game also. So first we have the initial guard voice test, and I'm going to show you what this is all about, and then we can do some commenting on that. So just let me load up a character here. Loading, loading. There we go. Grab the guard, place him there. And put myself in there. And activate combat, and there we go. And what this changes is, as you can probably hear, it adds a bit of voice acting to the game. Oh, my frame rate is really bad right now. So, what do you guys think about the voice acting? Have you tried it out?
Can you turn the... Oh, hang on. I'm not even... Yeah, I can't hear the volume or any noise coming back from the game you're playing at the moment. So I can't actually hear it and give you a kind of response.
Have you tried it out yourself in the latest alpha?
No, sorry.
Oh, okay.
I have. I think it's kind of a cool concept. I think it still needs some work. I'm not quite sure that this is the exact voice of the game yet, but I think it's a good proof of concept.
Yeah, I agree. It's a lot of people, when he posted the video showing it off, said that they don't like it because, you know, it's not exactly the, you know, exact thing that makes, you know, fits with the game.
Exactly.
But I don't think that's a very good argument, or I mean, I don't think you should talk about that kind of thing at this point, because it's like just a first test, so yeah, it's going to change. It's just a test.
Yeah, we've definitely talked about the idea of combining animal sounds with the voices to see if we can, you know, come up with something that's a little more in the vein of what's going on. So
I think animal voices would be good, yeah, for the combat.
yeah,
Like, especially the cats. Well, cats can make some real nasty noises when they fight.
that's true.
Yeah, I'm sure though, as I said last time, I think in the last weekly I was pretty much against the whole voice acting idea, but then I said that if they do it, and well, they did, and I'm sure it will end out, you know, it will end up being very good, like all the other things that Wolfire makes.
Well, I know we're also talking to some friends of mine who are professionals in the voice acting world. You know, just trying to see what it's going to take to get the best performance possible, and what exactly that will entail, you know. So
Yeah. But yeah, I'm sure they will get it right. Let's just move on to the next point in the list and take a look at that. So, Control O to load parallax scene and play camera animation. This is a thing that has been shown in a few videos, I think, but it doesn't actually work properly for me, and I don't think it works properly for a lot of people, as is expected since it's a very early alpha version. But I'm going to press Control O, and so you can see how it looks for me. It doesn't do anything.
you have to be in editor mode.
Oh, right, thanks. I didn't know about that. What's going on? Yeah. So Control O. I don't know if this is how it's supposed to look. It's basically a bunch of create thingies. And then it zooms into the sky, and I'm back into the editor. So that's what I see. Yeah, do you know about that, Anthony? It's supposed to be like that?
David and I talked about it a little bit. I think it's missing some layer elements for some of us, and he was able to reproduce it on his computer after he and I talked about it. So he's looking into it, but that's about all I know.
Yeah, if they continue doing these tests in the following weeks, I'm sure it will be fixed for next week's alpha. But I think they show it off in the last week's, or maybe this week's, perhaps this week's alpha video. So check that out if you really want to see what that's all about.
If I remember correctly, it's the same animation that Aubrey put at the end of the previous art asset video. So I think that it was basically just the same animation within the game.
Yeah, exactly. So, next point on the list, new heavy footsteps for Wolf. I'm just going to quickly go back to the game and switch to the Wolf model here, so you can hear those. I don't know how loud my sound is in the game. Doesn't sound very much different on the sand also. But anyways, it's not a huge deal. It's just a bit of different sounds when you're a wolf, because the wolf is heavier than your, rabbit or whatever.
Yeah, on my computer they seemed significantly louder. Not to the point where it didn't feel realistic, but certainly it felt like there was more weight to it and louder.
Yeah, I might be able to show it off later when I move over to the hard parts. It's just on the sand, it doesn't sound much different.
That may be. I didn't mess around with it too much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good, I suppose. More sounds, always nice. Next on the list, fixed problem with weapons with tangent normal maps. Okay, that's a problem with weapons with tangent
That was a
maps.
problem that I was having. It's basically when you've got UVs that aren't facing the same direction. So, say you want to extend a texture, down like a pipe, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You can cut that pipe along sections and then move those sections up in the UV layout so that they still fit on the texture. Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to me. I don't know if people who do not do game development stuff understand what it's about,
But yeah, basically, it's just it causes seams, and he fixed that.
Okay. It's an improvement, and improvements are always welcome, of course. So let's move on to the next point. Can import and play back Blender camera animations. That's what the parallax scene was all about. It means you can export a camera animation from Blender and then import into the game and play that camera animation using script, I suppose. And that will be useful for cutscenes or whatever. People who make mods don't have to use parallax scenes. You can probably make any cutscene, whatever. Awesome stuff. And I might actually use that because I have wanted to make some kind of small video transitions for these Overgrowth Weeklies. But we'll have to see about that. Next point on the list is editor camera exposed to scripting, as you can see right there. Last week they exposed the character camera, I suppose you can call it. The normal when you're running around as a rabbit or wolf or whatever camera. Now they have exposed the normal camera when you're flying around in edit mode. The one I'll just show it to be entirely clear here. When you're in this mode where you're flying around, this is also now scripted and not hard-coded into the game. So that's good, I suppose. Enables people to change how the editor works. Maybe there will be some kind of sprint button in the editor. I've been wanting stuff like that, for instance. So, anyways.
That probably explains why the Shift W and S have stopped working to move directly up and down on the column on the Z-axis.
Oh, that has worked before?
It used to be if you held down Shift and W, you would move up, and if you held Shift and and S, you would move down. But that no longer works for me.
Yeah, but now that it's the scripting is exposed, though, it's probably even I could probably add something like that. So hopefully it will be added if we just request it for the next alpha. Because I want to be able to move up and down, even though I didn't know about the feature, but I have been thinking.
Yeah, I didn't even like use that before.
No.
I used it all the time.
Yeah,
it was awesome.
It's really useful. I just look up and fly upwards, but I'm always thinking, man, this needs a way to like fly up without having to look up, or yeah, you know what I mean. So that's good. I hope they add that back in the next alpha. Cool stuff. And the next on the list here is sound label display to display all sound paths. I am not going to activate you to show this, but it means that whenever a sound, you can activate a thing. I think it's via script. I think that shows all the sounds that are played. I don't know if it's on the right or left side.
It's not a script, it's a setting in the configuration file in the data folder.
Oh yeah.
You can just change it from false to true and it'll come up.
So that will make all the sound paths appear as sounds playing the game. So when you're running around, you see all the sound paths. When you're fighting, you hear all the sound paths to the voices and so on and so forth. So that's always useful for debugging purposes. And the next on the list, jumping on alternate legs. This is actually something that was requested in, I don't know, the comments somewhere or something. Oh, I think it was on the Circuit Pro forums actually. And David decided to implement it because it would be very easy to implement. I'm just showing you right here that right now the characters jump on first the left and then the right and then the left and then the right. And earlier they always jumped on, I don't know if it was the right or the left. So that's always a nice addition. And the last one, loading and displaying parallax scenes with a depth sort. I suppose this has something to do with the parallax scene stuff. Yeah, I don't really know a whole lot about it, so I'm not going to say much more than that. So that's basically it for... yeah, Markuss?
Well, I can tell you what it is.
Yes, please do.
Like depth sorting. It's just like when like two images that have transparency are one's behind each other and one's in front of each other, it figures out which one is like supposed to be rendered first.
Oh yeah, I remember I've had some problems with that in the source engine. If you have images that are partially transparent, then it doesn't know, like if you have two windows after each other, it doesn't know if it's supposed to render one or the other window first. So the back window might render in front of the other window, so it looks really weird.
You get like, well, one thing that I've noticed is that the QMap alpha shader doesn't actually have it working properly, whereas the plant shader does.
I guess it's something about performance, I guess.
But I haven't actually brought it up yet, so yeah, I should do.
You should. So that's it for the Alpha Watch, I suppose. And next on the list is Aubrey's art overview number 5. So as usual, I'm just going to shut up, and I'm actually going to mute you guys here right now, so you can say
no.
And they're muted, and they can't hear me either. So I hope they're fine with that. Anyways, I'm going to start this art overview made by Aubrey. It's number 5 this week, so enjoy, guys. I'll be back in a few minutes.
Welcome to the Overgrowth Art Asset Overview this week. I'd like to talk a little bit about characters. You might remember this character. He was our first one, Rabot. I've decided to have a little bit of fun and update him. We've been using Blender for our rigging data and also for our animations. We have a rig that is for Blender that is included with the alpha, so anybody can use that. We also have some export scripts for exporting data into the engine, which you can install, although I had David install them for me because I'm not an expert at using Blender yet. It's not that hard to get your own character into the engine. Basically, the process involves loading the skeleton, changing it to fit your character, and then auto-rigging the character to the mesh that you've made so that you can put it in the game engine. Expect a full tutorial about this sometime in the future. You can see that Blender's auto-rigging results are not perfect on this character, but it's not so bad for just a few minutes of work. I worked on a couple of other things this week that weren't directly related to Overgrowth. For example, this picture here that I'm going to turn into a long format drawing tutorial video sometime in the near future, so keep an eye open for that. I also did a little bit of art for the blog, which you may have seen. Next week I'm planning to work more on monolith art assets. These ones are inspired by a natural formation called the Giant's Causeway. That's it for this week's art asset overview. If you're interested in pre-ordering the game, you can get it at wolfire.com/preorder. Thanks.
So that was the art asset overview for Alpha 116. So what do you guys think about the Rabot 2.0?
Very cool.
I like him. I think he's cool. The only thing I miss is that no, I can't remember what I was going to say. Sorry. That Rabot #1 was completely procedural, and I wish that Rabot version 2 could be that way also, but I don't know how that would work out.
Yeah,
So
since they've completely changed the systems from the fully procedural to the semi-procedural, I don't think that's possible. But I really like him as well. He's just so very awesome. I like how he made the, I don't know, cloth thingies to like between the metal parts there are like some kind of stuff that looks like a cloth.
Yep.
And it just looks really, really awesome. I hope he's going to go into the final game as a playable character. That would be very awesome. Some people suggested he should be unlockable or stuff like that. I guess we'll see about that, but I just want him in the game because he's super duper awesome.
I like the idea of having like robots built with traditional materials, but not like stupidly, if that makes sense.
Can you
Like you don't build, like, obviously the arms have to have like motors in them and like pneumatics and stuff like that for them to move. But like you can like fucking put like a bit of like cloth around a part of a robot and add that to the design, and I don't know. There's a robot in the game Mortal Kombat called Yoshimitsu, and he wears in one of the games he wore a straw hat, and I thought that was very cool for like a robot to use such a traditional material.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's a good point, I suppose. I also like the idea of mixing, you know, normal stuff with the robots. It makes them more awesome, if that's even possible. I don't know. So yeah, was there anything else interesting in that video? I don't know. I just freaked out about the Rabbit 2.0.
He decided to design like the next monolith on the hexagonal columns found at Devil's Causeway. Did he say it was?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was Giant's Causeway though.
Or Giants? I don't know. It's in Ireland, isn't it?
Yeah, just off of Scotland or something like that, right? Or
But it looks like man-made, but it's not. It's like made from like volcanic, like rock or something.
So that's a natural formation that actually looks like that?
yes. Actually, Aubrey and I were talking about that, and it's a whole. There's actually a bunch of these types of formations around the world with different extremes of these weird, very strict shaped objects that grow naturally in columns like that. It's really kind of cool. I should try and remember what they're called.
Yeah, it's basically the same idea as they have with the Crete, right? It's the Crete is like some kind of crystal almost, or whatever they're saying.
Yeah,
What's
exactly.
this crate? What is that? I've never heard of it.
Crete is the material, those long bars that you see that look like they're made of concrete almost.
Alright.
That is in the concept art, and also those blocks you see in the game, that those basic gray blocks that you can use to build in the engine, those are also Crete, but just in another shape, I suppose.
So what are they actually going to be in the game, or?
Yeah. They're like a thing of the Overgrowth universe, I think.
And the monoliths are the same things or different?
Oh, that's right. I think the monoliths are made out of Crete, if I am not mistaken, but don't quote me on that.
Maybe it's a type of monolith?
Yeah, perhaps. I don't know, actually. I don't know. I'm not going to say much more about it. I know there are monoliths. I know there is Crete. The monoliths might be made out of Crete. I don't know.
Alright.
I think that's still sort of undefined at this point. But
Yeah, I think they're still making stuff up.
Yeah.
yeah, I just posted a link in the chat for on Wikipedia the type of rock is called basalt, I guess, and there's actually some amazing pictures on Wikipedia, very large pictures if people go in and look, showing these different columns and things like that. So definitely cool to check out.
Yeah, I mean, how is that even possible? I mean, of course there are crystals. Crystals are kind of, regular in their shapes, kind of, but not as regular as those things.
I think what it is, it's a type of volcanic rock, and based on how it cools, creates that formation. So it's some combination of those. That the molecular structure with the way that it cools.
I don't think they're all hexagons either. I think some of them are like squares and other like things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we should probably move on to the next part, which is actually the interview with Anton. So, yeah, why don't you introduce yourself? Say who are you, what have you done for Overgrowth, and stuff like that.
Okay, so I'm Anton Real, and I've been helping out with the music for the game so far. So the main thing that people have heard is I've added all of the flute performances to the main theme and to all of the ambient tracks. Yeah, so working with Miko to create the sound of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Who's Miko?
Miko Tarmia is the main composer. Yes, so he also is the composer who wrote for the Penumbra and Amnesia games. So
He's a famous dude then. Did he get paid?
we haven't ever talked about payment between the two of us, so I have no idea. But he actually has been working on the music for Overgrowth for years, for really a long time. Back before Overgrowth was Overgrowth, when it was still Lugaru 2, he was writing a lot of the music that you hear now. And and you've actually, if you go back and really look at the old versions of the songs, they've really come a long way in the years he's been working on it. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, the music has really evolved over the time. That's
Yeah.
for sure. And with your addition, it just got even better.
I think one of the big issues I had when I first heard the music was it lacked a certain richness, like a live element. And so when I sort of volunteered to play, to help out, I said, one thing I could do is add live flute to the already existing tracks, and they really changed the feel of the tracks, I think. So, yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, as I said, it adds a lot. And you also made the piano version of you have made a bunch of variations on the melody, by the way, haven't you?
Yeah, kind of everything has sort of come from random chats in IRC for the most part. I did a guitar version about a year ago, and then the piano version last week, which was, it was Miko's piano version that he wrote the same time that I released the guitar version, and then I just did a new performance of it this couple weeks ago or something. And someone in the chat wants a tuba version, and I'm a tuba player, so I'm guessing that they know that that's the case. So
yeah, you should totally make a tuba version. That would be awesome.
Yeah. So, and there's still there's still a lot of
Make it like the sad music,
Oh,
like when some character dies, that music comes up. It's like you know how the song goes.
Right. So, and actually, our conversations a year ago started this idea of doing a volunteer orchestra with volunteers from the community, and this past week we finally sent out parts to the people that are going to play in a little medley. It's going to be like an 8-minute medley of music, and so they now have about a month to record their parts. So in about a month we'll start putting together this volunteer orchestra piece and see what happens.
Cool.
Kind of cool.
So you have all the instruments you need for that now? Because I know a while ago you were asking for more people to join, since there were a couple of instruments that you were lacking.
Well, it wasn't so much that we were lacking them; it's that we had, we tried to write the arrangement to fit the group that we had. So we did that as much as possible, tried to include as many people as we could. We did have certain instruments where we just had too many people. We had too many guitars, we had too many pianos. But then we wrote these parts, and we had a few celli, a few basses, a few French horns, but we realized that it wasn't going to be enough. So when Jeff asked me if they could do a blog post about the piano arrangement I did a couple weeks ago, I said, oh yeah, it'd be great, since we're about to send out parts, if we could just mention that we could use a few more of these extra things just to kind of fill out the sound a little more.
Yeah. It's always good to have a bit of variety, I suppose, to make a rich sound.
Well, also, for string sections in particular, if you don't have enough strings, it really has a different sound. It stops sounding like a section and starts sounding more like a quartet. And the music for Overgrowth has a lot of epic moments, so without epic numbers of strings, it sounds kind of weak.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So you have done a lot of stuff for Overgrowth, as we know, the flute stuff, as you've been talking about. What have you done before that? Did you go to music school, and what have you done before Overgrowth?
Sure. I did go to music school. I have a degree in music composition, and then I've been working in film and television stuff for several years, and recently wanted to start getting into writing music for video games. So Overgrowth was technically the first video game that I started working on, but around the same time that I started working on Overgrowth, we some friends of mine and I got a job to work on the Star Wars, the Old Republic music. So that was a pretty exciting event that sort of overlapped with Overgrowth. Spent a week up at Skywalker Ranch recording a big orchestral session. That was cool. I also worked on things like Without a Trace, the TV show. Worked on Crank 2 with Mike Patton. I've actually done a record with Mike Patton, as well as I've worked on 8 or something of Danger Mouse's most recent records. So kind of working in the music, film, TV, video game industry in general. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, you've really done a lot of stuff. I mean, yeah, you really like
How old are
all
you?
this stuff. Yeah, how old are you? That's a good question.
I'm 31, so right in the middle of that video game demographic, I guess, from 18 to 35. Getting old, though, I guess so, right?
Yeah, you're on the later end of that scale.
I am. I'm getting up there. But video games have been on and off. They've been a big part of my life. I remember when the Nintendo came out and what a big deal it was for us back in the day, and then sort of everything that's happened since then. I kind of fell away from it for a while and came back and was surprised at what had happened, then fell away again, then came back, and
Yeah. So are you playing video games right now?
I try to when I get a chance, but
So what games do you play then, when you do play?
lately,
Yeah.
I've been playing a lot of the Humble Bundle games. Those have been cool. I don't know. I recently got a PS3, so I've been playing some of those games. Borderlands, a friend of mine really likes to play, so we've been doing that. And Arkham Asylum. Just, I don't know. I like to play games quickly and then move on. I'm not a complete every aspect of them. So
Yeah.
I like to kind of see what the games are all about, see what the hype is, but usually I don't spend a lot of time on any one game. So
I wish I was more like that.
well, it's a little bit tricky. I listed a lot of projects that I've worked on. It's hard to find time to do those projects and play games at the same time. So I actually played through the second Assassin's Creed in 3 days, and then had to not sleep for the rest of that week trying to make up music. It was kind of funny.
Yeah, video games does that to you somehow.
It's true.
Yeah.
So
yeah, by the way, all the people in the chat right now, if you have any questions you would like to ask Anton here on air, just write them in the chat and I will try to catch them there. Let's move on to another question here. How do you think how is making music for video games different from making music for, for example, movies or stuff like that?
Well, the big difference between making music for movies is with movies there's a set timing and pacing that has to happen, that you really need to follow the story. Writing music for film and TV, it's all about the story. Gaming has some elements of story, especially in cutscenes, where a lot of time that's where you'll hear music. But gaming has a flexibility and also limitations in expressiveness. So because you're not serving picture, you're a little more free to create whatever kind of music you want. Whereas on the flip side, the music can't dominate a scene, and if the music is too short, it becomes repetitive. With downloadable games, you have to worry about file size, so you can't make songs that are 25 minutes to fill a scene or something. And then there's also the interactivity, which I think is one of the coolest aspects about video game music. Before I started doing video games, I was really interested in aleatoric music and installation music for art installations, where you would have light sensors and motion sensors that as you moved around you would trigger different layers and sounds that may or may not work together based on what's in the room. And I think that there's a cool level of that in video games, at least the possibility of it. Unfortunately, I think that most of the time what it comes down to is, okay, the interactivity is we're in the fight scene, so now switch to the fight music and maybe make it a little more intense when you've hit Bowser 3 times, he becomes more angry, so the music gets more intense or something,
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
I don't think it needs to be any more complicated than that. To be honest, I'm like when I think about it, yeah. Like, Final Fantasy is a game that I think has great music, and the battle music in that is just like the same thing repeating, and then at the end it goes da na 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 na.
Right.
And it's like simple, but like enjoyable.
Sure. I think there are times when that's true, but I think that the possibilities to do something more are there, and
Yeah.
Someone just mentioned procedural music in the chat, and I know that the game Fractal uses procedural music, and I actually spoke with the composer about that at Indiecade this past year, and it's really cool. The idea of procedural music that is actually created by the game, to me, is interesting. I think that they're, I understand like letting the music play the way that you were talking about, Markuss, but on the flip side, I just think that there is possibility for more, and it doesn't have to be something that grabs your attention. It can be subtle things that change over time. To me, make it a more interesting experience to write the music that way.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. And by the way, it was Connor_36 and Tanjavik that asked that question. And we also have actually another question in the chat here, And it's Dremond who is wondering if you will be working on sound effects as well as the music in Overgrowth.
I actually just do music. I don't do sound effects. So no, that's somebody else.
Do you like doing sound effects, or otherwise would you like to explore that perhaps, or is that something you're not interested in at all?
Every time that I've ever done sound effects, which have usually been for low budget films, I've hated it. So I really have no interest in doing it on a larger scale. So no.
Okay. All right. Well, just a final question, I suppose. What is your favorite music? Do you have any kind of favorite music? What game has the best music according to you?
Oof.
Might be hard to someone who makes music such varying as you do.
I mean, in my quote unquote free time, which is usually I tend to take 2-hour-long walks in the neighborhood where I live. I like to listen to avant-garde classical music, so it's not really something that fits in anywhere else in my professional career at the moment, but I really enjoy listening to that. So
maybe it's like, I don't know how it is said in English, but listen to different music than you hear all the time every day might be good. My English skills are just phoning me right now.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean. Just having different music than you listen to all the time. Otherwise, might be fun to listen to.
Right. It's cleansing the palate would be one way to put it. Inspiration from an outside source, whatever you want to call it. There's there's a lot of really good music out there, and I like to try and find as much of it as I can, and that's what's been keeping my interest the most for a while right now.
Could you give us some examples?
Sure. I really like Heinrich Goretzky, who unfortunately passed away in November. He was a Polish composer, and if certainly his most
What was
famous
the last
piece,
name again?
Goretzky, which is Gorecki, and yeah, Polish composer. There's a a Russian composer I like a lot. Her name is Sofia Gobajulina, which I might not be able to spell from memory off the top of my head.
I tell you what, just like paste them into chat later.
Yeah, I could paste a few. Certainly, there have been a lot of really interesting Eastern European composers in the last 50 years that I really like a lot. So, although certainly, Tan Dune, who wrote the music for Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and Hero, has a lot of very interesting classical music as well that I really enjoy. So.
Don't really remember those films for their soundtracks, but I could check them out again.
Yeah, they were kind of similar in some ways, but they certainly made an impact on a lot of people. He kind of combined classical, Eastern and Western music together in a lot of interesting ways. So,
Yeah.
I would say definitely worth checking out.
You, as Marcus suggested, you can just post the names in the chat for those. After you have perhaps done a little live performance, because yeah, after the interview we are going to have a live performance by you, if you're ready for that right now.
Oh sure, I can. I was just gonna play the Overgrowth theme on the same flute, so.
Okay, cool. So Marcus and I will just shut our mouths and we will listen to Anton when he performs the Overgrowth main theme. So, ladies and gentlemen, Anton Reel. Very nice, well done.
Thanks. Yeah, if you guys haven't seen it before, there's a video of me doing that in a pier in Berkeley, not Brooklyn, Berkeley, when I was visiting the guys, and some people asked me about whether or not this flute doesn't actually play all of the notes that are in the theme, so you hear some octave displacement and some other things that don't quite match what you may be used to. So unfortunately, I play these wooden flutes, but they're limited in their scales and abilities. So
yeah, I actually mostly listen to I listen a lot to just that version, so I don't actually remember how the normal version sounds anymore, honestly.
Well, if you listen to the one on, I mean, I think that you have the actual raw flute track from the soundtrack, which has all the pitch correction put in, versus the real theme has some things that it just can't play. So.
Oh, I see. Well,
anyway.
Yeah, that's very good. I really enjoy your. I almost enjoy your variations more than I like the normal version because they sound so sad mostly. Just very emotional, and I really like that.
I think, Miko and I have been talking a lot, and I know he's written a lot of music already, but there is still a lot of options in the future for new music, and so we'll see. I think there may be some influence on what happens, and more things will, the collaboration will continue, I think, as the game progresses, once we know more of what the game will actually need, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Miko was like, "You want another awesome composition? You're gonna have to pay."
Yeah, well, that's so. Should I answer one more question from the chat?
Yeah, let's do that. I guess Connor_36 asks, what software you use to make your music?
Right. So typically when I'm writing music, I'll sketch by hand, and then I'll do most of my orchestration stuff in Digital Performer, and then I will use Pro Tools for a lot of audio editing. I use Finale for my notation projects, and then I use sample libraries from people like East West, the Vienna Symphonic Library. Audio Bro is a thing called LA Scoring Strings, Ivory, which is a piano plugin, things like that. That's the majority of the software I use.
Yeah, it's a lot of programs I have never even heard the name of before.
Yeah, most people haven't. It's a pretty esoteric world that I live in.
Yeah. So, you actually write your music by hand in the beginning?
I like to sketch by hand. I like to write ideas by hand. There's a few reasons for that. One is that it's very fast, but then I also I can write it down, but I can also see it without feeling like it's committed to something, and then I can kind of play with it. It's also really nice to me because I've spent so much time arranging on paper to actually look at the music, to see what it looks like, gives me a very strong impression of what it will sound like when I actually give it to players, or to when I will record it in myself if I'm playing everything myself.
Yeah, so I guess it's kind of like how most artists do a sketch before they do like a final version.
Yeah, that's a good analogy.
Yeah. So actually, we will have to take just one final question here from the chat, because Wolfver has been asking like 4 times this question. So let's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So he asks, will races have specific music to theme a race? Like cats more flutish and the dogs more bombastic. So will the races have, will different races have different music styles, I suppose?
I've thought about this, and it's something I've talked to David about a little bit. We haven't decided on any particular instrumentation for any given race. I guess we're calling them races. But I certainly have thought about that myself, and some of the music that we've talked about me really working on is the actual music that happens in game, meaning like if you see a musician on the street, what is he playing? And I may do something like that. So I've personally kind of started thinking about them in terms of complicated music. So since the dogs, for example, don't really want really advanced machinery, they would have simple music like percussion-based music or singing-type music or something like that. I think the flutes have sort of been dubbed the rabbit sound just by default, since it's been used so much. Whereas I think the more sophisticated race, being the cats, would have something like stringed instruments, because they, it's a higher level of sophistication. It takes more practice. They're more difficult to
use.
To play.
Yeah.
So that's my idea. We still have to see how much of a role music is going to be in the culture of each race. I do think that there is room for it, and I think that it's something that we're discussing, but it will be something that probably occurs closer to when we start hearing about the plot, the actual story of the game, which I know zero about. So, so that would be something that may happen in the future, and we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. Personally, I would appreciate having different themes for different races, and I suppose it's kind of no-brainer almost. I mean, that's the default way to do it, I suppose. That's how most games do it, have different themes for different, races, and since they have different architecture and all that kind of stuff as well, it kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, it makes sense to me too. So, I actually have this really cool idea. I've been meaning to get down as a dog funeral procession, which I think would be kind of a cool game, in-game element to see. So
yeah, and a good opportunity to play some awesome music as well.
Exactly. So
yeah. So thanks a lot for this interview. It was very insightful and very interesting. I hope you guys in the audience liked it as well. So thanks for that. But you will actually be staying with us until the end of the show, right?
Absolutely. Awesome. I'll still be here.
Awesome. So let us move on to the next part here. And the next part on the agenda is a custom platforming level. And that is actually a level made by me, believe it or not. I am a mapper at heart, so I made a little platforming level for Overgrowth, and I'm basically going to play through it here for you guys. And yeah, I guess it's kind of a little teaser or something. I hope you enjoy. I made a video for this level as well on the YouTubes on youtube.com/OGWeekly. You can see that. And I kind of made this level for myself because it's very, very, very hard. Even I think it's very hard, and I'm probably going to skip a part if I fail it, just to not.
I hate this spot.
Oh, damn. Yeah. This part is like the hardest part on the entire level, which is kind of bad. As I said, I just made it for myself. I just made what I felt like. I tried to come up with some kind of hard platforming thing because it's kind of hard to make hard stuff because it's so easy to do stuff in this game. But what you're supposed to do here is drop down, and down here you're supposed to do a wall jump and then jump up and grab this ledge and get up here. So let's just pretend I did that. And then there's kind of a infinite wall jump up here. Let's hope I don't fall down. And by the way, this level is downloadable on the forums. So if you're interested, you can download the map and try it out for yourself, test your platforming skills. And I would very much like to try other people's maps as well. Because platforming is the main part of Overgrowth right now. It's the only gameplay aspect there is right now, basically. So it would be cool to see some more of that. When I did this, I just tried to come up with new ideas, you could say, to do stuff with the game that hadn't been done, I suppose. And that's why there are a few weird things, like oh, that's a nice bug there. Yeah, like this obstacle right here. Since there aren't really any rules for how to make platforming stuff in Overgrowth yet, I just had to come up with my own stuff. So that's kind of exciting, actually, when dealing with level design, not having set restrictions for yourself.
Where I just got to the bit where you did that run around off the two walls thing.
Yeah, the corner wall jump thingy.
Yeah, you're making this pretty difficult. I'm not gonna play this.
Yeah, as I said, I made it for myself. I didn't really expect to make even this part that I'm on right now at all. I just wanted to make that 2D kind of part down there. But it kind of went out of control, and since I didn't think about gameplay really, I just made it, oh, I should come up with this, I should make like some kind of hard thing to do here. So I didn't really have new players in mind, I just made it for myself, and I think that I am probably I don't want to sound cocky or anything, but I think that I'm probably the best platformer for this game right now, so there are probably not a lot of people who can who can finish this level other than me. And I actually cheated this time. But anyways. So here I am at the top of the mountain, and I'm just about to enter the trophy room where our prize will be located. And our prize is in the shape of a pink beard, of course. Yay.
All hail the beard.
Yes, all hail the beard. It's kind of important to worship the beard, actually. I need to say that.
I love the pillow in front of the beard. It just makes it perfect.
Yeah, it's meant to be worshipped. It's like a test you need to go through, and if you manage to get past the test, then you are worthy of the beard. So that's a level for Overgrowth platforming levels. If you want to have your level on this show, I would be very pleased to show your level if you've made one, like this one or anything else, basically. Just show it on the stream. So yeah, I really want to keep up with what the community is doing and all that kind of cool stuff. So if you have any level you've made, or if just give it to me, send it to me. I'm in the Wolfire IRC when I am available, or you can send an email to OGWeekly@gmail.com. Send an email there with your level, and I will try it out and show it in the next Overgrowth Weekly, as long as it's not total crap, of course. So no giant golden penises or anything like that, please.
Oh man.
And I want to take a look at the art asset, or not the art asset, the fan art thread, because I like to remember that there were a few posts here since last week's alpha. I don't know if this one is new, it probably is. It's made by 31st January. Let's see. Yeah, that one's new. By Grios. It's kind of a black and white image of a cat. It looks like a cat town, I suppose, with kind of drapes and stuff. Looks kind of cool. Let's see, was there anything more, or was that it?
Look at your middle tab.
What did you say?
Look at your middle tab.
Oh yeah, I'll...
Oh, are you saving that?
Yeah, I'll take that right after this.
Sorry, I'm out of sync.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me though. And here's actually an awesome picture of the whale man. Oops, a lot of advertisement stuff here. I hate this page right now. Should have downloaded this page before. Oh, there we go. So as you can see, it's the whale man, and he's wearing a kilt, and he's having the I don't know what that's called in English.
He's playing the bagpipes.
Bagpipe, right. Bagpipes, even. Thanks for that. So yeah, a very awesome picture of the whale man, and he's very Overgrowth themed and with a kilt, referring to John, just as my pink beard. One can really sense that the Overgrowth community is strong and very proud of itself. So I really like that.
Yeah, it's very nicely done. Cool shading.
Yeah, I would like to see this in color. Actually, that would be cool. Even though,
Nah, I don't think it would be like as strong.
I think it. Yeah, as you said, it would probably not be as strong because it's kind of sad. You can obviously see. And,
Unless it's like just a monotone blue kind of color.
Yeah. Well, anyways, it's a very, very awesome picture, and it's made by Will Green on the Wolfire forums. So very awesome stuff from you guys. I will keep coming back to this thread, so if you want your art to be shown on the...
Well, you missed one.
I did?
Yep, go back one page.
Let's see, thanks for that. I do not want to miss... Oh yeah.
Let's have a look.
Alright.
I'm waiting for the stream to update.
I'm not sure. This was on the 30th of January this came out. Yeah, it has to be that one. I don't know if this I missed this because it was so slow. I don't know what service is using Image Shack, so it was just slow to load, so that's why I didn't see it. I'm not sure if I showed this last week, but anyways, here's a
I could be wrong. Yeah, sorry.
It's an image by Dead PC Cat, and I'm clicking to zoom. This actually reminds me a lot of Lugaru, especially considering there's this bird here. This bird is very iconic to Lugaru because at the start of every level, I think, the bird would make a bird sound, like eagle or whatever. Eagle!
Well, I think that's like... I actually looked up a gameplay video of Lugaru after, like, you said something about it and I didn't know what it was. Yeah, and that, like, thing could be, like, the main village from the start, right?
Yeah,
It could be.
Like the girl sitting at the very top, looking up the edge.
Yeah, I think there was a art from last week that actually was from that place, but this one has like a huge hill around it and stuff, so it doesn't look like that entirely. But
Yeah, but it's, like, artistic, isn't it?
yeah, it looks like it should be able to perhaps climb up that side there, so that's a good point. It's a really awesome stuff anyways. And this one is made by Dead PC Cat, as I said. So that's the fan art overview thingy of the week. And before we move on to the next part, I want to show off a map that Marcus, that's with me here right now, has made. And he has a few images to show of a work in progress of a map he's working on right now.
Yeah, this is basically the opposite of yours. It's like the game is not designed for any gameplay in particular. It's just designed to look pretty.
Yeah, and the art maps are... I really like art maps because I'm not very good at making good looking maps.
Just change the last number to 2, 3, 4, etc.
Yeah, I will do that. And here we have the second image. I really like this. This looks really good. How does this run though on your computer?
It takes the frame rate down to around 30 and I've got a GTX 260.
Oh, okay. So it's...
So this will challenge your graphics cards.
Yeah. It's kind of like the forest level in Overgrowth. Is it better, or does it run as good, or worse?
It won't run as good, it's like very heavy. There's loads of objects in this scene.
Mm-hmm. I think it'll get better once they introduce some more improvements to the...
LOD system.
Yeah.
They need a LOD system.
Level
You'll be able to
details
fit
system.
3 to 4 times the amount of objects in there with a good LOD system.
Yeah. And was there 4 pictures?
Yeah, just 4.
Yeah, okay. So that's Marcus' work in progress. Will we see more of this in the future?
Yeah, it's like, well, I kind of wanted to get it done for this show, but I just didn't get it done in time.
Perhaps next week then. And also don't forget to post it. You should post these pictures on the...
Yeah, I'm gonna release my assets soon. They're nearly done. I was just like putting together a level that contained like one of every object, so that it can do the texture conversion when people load it.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. And also
Like-
show off all the assets, of course.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's awesome. What do you think, Anton? Does it look awesome or what?
Yeah, it looks pretty amazing. I can't wait to play around with those assets. Play in those locations too. They look great.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. So let's move on. As I said, that's a very awesome level made by Marcus, expected to be released soon, as along with his all the art assets used there made by him as well. And next up on the agenda is the tweets and news segment. And first off on that list is the Lugaru ripoff, as I worded it. And it's about that iCoder, a company called iCoder, took the code of Lugaru, since they made Lugaru open source a while ago, and uploaded it to the Mac marketplace for Mac or something like that.
Yeah, the App Store.
Yeah, Apple's
Mac
Mac
App Store.
Apple's Mac, yeah, something like that. It's the Apple's Mac stores, it says here in the article, so let's go with that. And that was after Wolfire had released their real version of the of Lugaru, and they claim, iCoder have claimed that they have changed the code and stuff, and that they have permission to actually put this up there, but they don't, obviously, because all the art assets are not open source, just the code itself, and they're using the art assets. So, I don't know, I mean, this has been covered to death already. I just wanted to basically bring it up. So, what do you guys think about this? Do you have anything to say about it?
I think it needs to be taken down, but it's pretty crazy, you know.
I think we should dispatch Fighting Ninja Rabbits immediately to hunt these scumbags down and bring them to justice.
Yeah, we should dispatch Overt Ops or whatever that was called.
I'm not really surprised that it's taken as long as it has, though, to be honest. I know that, you know, in some ways it'd be nice for them to take it down right away, but I'm not surprised it hasn't. And you know, the kind of the bad thing about it is that it's been above the, you know, it's in the top 100 paid game applications on the store. You know, and it's I think people are buying it instead of Lugaru HD. So
I just think it's really weird that they even allowed this. I mean, what if it was on Steam, for instance? If we were on Steam, this would never happen on Steam, would it? I mean, in Steam, they're like, they think about when they add stuff. Of course, the Apple Mac Store is probably much bigger, and they probably don't have an as, you know, rigorous process. But still, if someone has a game on the store called Lugaru HD, and someone else comes with, you know, an identical copy and calls it Lugaru and uploads it, they should at least have, like, searched for that game and, you know, investigated it before putting it on there.
You know, like, there's people at Apple who, like, just hate the idea of video games. You know, like, why would you want to take this, like, magnificent, like, I don't know, piece of technology that can be used for, like, furthering, like, mankind's cause and use it for playing games?
I think that's a little harsh, but
like, Apple care like next to nothing for games. They don't make any effort at all for games.
But games are their biggest seller on both the App Store and on the iTunes Store.
And they hate it.
I don't think they do. I think they're pushing to do it more. I think that it's just hasn't been a focus of their, you know, their strategy. But
I just think for just sticking to this article, or the topic at hand, I just think that they need to. I
should shut up.
That's fine. I just think they need to, like, improve the process so that they at least look for duplicates and stuff like that. This is just weird. Why would they even approve this? Do they have? It makes you ask, do they even have a process for this, or can anyone just upload whatever they want? It just feels very weird.
Right. Well, and the other weird thing is that since the game is released through GPL license, they have to provide the code to other people if you buy the game from them, and there is no way to do that in the Apple Store. So technically, it can't even be on there. And there was another app that was pulled recently for that very same reason. So I have a feeling that it will be removed in the near future, but my guess is that we may still see a couple more weeks of it.
So do you think they will be refunded? Because Wolfire obviously have lost money on this, and that iCoder company have gained money on it, will they get their money taken back? Will the copies be removed from people? How will that work, do you think? I have no idea myself.
Yeah, I
Good
really
drawing,
don't know.
by the way.
Yeah, good drawing by Aubrey here. I'm showing on the stream right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope they get their money back. I hope iCoder get their money taken away from them and stuff like that. Things.
Yeah, well, they haven't been paid for it yet. I think Apple pays monthly or quarterly or something like that. So,
That's good at least.
yeah. So we'll see what happens.
Mhm. Well,
And I think iCoder will be held responsible for all refunds, even though Apple will take 30%. So they may not mind getting money while they can, and then they are a corporation after all.
yeah. I
So.
suppose.
I think they should reduce the cost of Luger HD. I think $8 is a bit much.
Nah, it's an awesome game.
Doesn't last you very long. If you just play the campaign through once, right?
No, well, when you played through the campaign, you have only gained like perhaps 1/10 of the skill level you can attain. So before you do that, you should play through all of the challenges as well. And the last challenge is like 3 alpha wolves you need to take out without any weapons, so that's kind of hard. And when you've done that, I guess you're kind of done with the game. But unless you'd want to download any of the like four full mods with the like full campaigns and stuff. Yeah, it's a lot of gameplay hours for that game, and it's very fun as well.
That's the thing, is that I still find it fun, especially when I have just a short amount of time to go back and play Lugaria. It's like play through all the challenges in 10 minutes and then get back to work or something. It's a great break for me.
Yeah, same here. I just go back and play it. It's so satisfying to play that game. I just love it.
Yeah. I think I've been playing it since 2005. So it's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's move on to the next item on the agenda, and that is a Lugaru Max Store patch. It's actually a tweet by David, where he writes that he submitted a patch for Lugaru HD in the Mac Store that fixes a problem with the saved game permissions. And, well, this is good. It appears that the Lugaru on the Mac Store had a problem with the save games, and I talked to him a little bit about this, and he said that there might be a few very small changes to if there's like a platform-specific bug that is bugging people, he might go and just fix that one bug. But there probably won't be fixes for bugs that are well known and across all the platforms, because it's just a pain in the ass to get it all out there and working properly for all the versions. So
No, it's funny. There is kind of combining these two topics on the iCoder version of Lugaru on the App Store. Right now, there's a complaint that the levels don't save when people save. So hopefully, iCoder's rating drops because people are like, that game doesn't save.
yeah, that would be cool. And I guess that it kind of felt like it, because this patch came just a little while after the iCoder thingy, so it felt like he was, oh man, I need to make my version better because there are these other guys trying to sell the old version, so I need to make a better version so people don't buy that. Kind of felt like that, but I don't think that's the case, but just
Yeah,
it felt funny to me.
me too.
But yeah, so hopefully we will see a few other patches in the future. I know there are a few weapons in the game that like to spaz out and fly away into infinity, for instance, and stuff like that. Hopefully we will see a few fixes. But yeah, they haven't dropped support entirely yet, but pretty much, I suppose.
That's the impression I got.
Yeah, same here. Well, I guess Marcus doesn't have a lot to say about that since he doesn't really play Lugaru, right?
Not on the Mac. Definitely not.
Well, let's move on to the next point on the agenda, and that is head look animation. Just a small tweet again by Wolfire, and the tweet reads, adding some head look animation. For example, AI characters always look at their targets in combat. And this is just another level of animation. As you remember, if you remember, I think it was last week or the week before that, they added the ability to, in the script, change how the characters turn their torso. And now you can also change so they turn their heads, I suppose. And combining that, you can create believable dynamic animations where they look at different places. For example, make the AI look at their target, and hopefully in the future I can see it used for, well, not in the future, I can see it used for as well, having the player look at the target he will be attacking, because otherwise it's kind of hard to know who he will make his attack at.
I agree with that completely.
Mm-hmm. So hopefully they will implement that in the future. Look forward to that. Always like these new animation changes, because they add so much to the game. All the sound effects, all the music isn't in the game yet. Well, all the Foley effects, all the different talking effects they are adding now, the voiceovers. It's just awesome. I love, and the animation system on top of that. This game has such an awesome feel in it. It's just kind of hard to describe when I say it over and over. But I just love it, and that's why I'm here, I suppose. So I hope to see more of those additions in the future as well. So I think we're going to...
Well, there was one more last night that I think you missed. It's even smaller. David said added blinking. Not sure why I didn't do that earlier. So apparently the characters blink now.
Oh, cool. I am not... Oh, there it is. I sometimes miss tweets. I don't know why I do that. But yeah, here it is. I have it in my list here. Let's just open that up in a tab. Let's see, added blinking. Not sure why I didn't do that earlier. Thanks for that, Anton, so I didn't miss that. Really.
Oh yeah, it was kind of late yesterday. I mean, it's on that border of, was it last week or this week?
Yeah. So he added blinking apparently, and yeah, awesome stuff. I just love it. It's amazing. So
yep.
Cool. It's going to turn out to be an awesome game. So I think that's about it for this week. Actually, do you have anything you guys want to say before I wrap this up?
Goodbye.
No, we're not leaving quite yet. I'm just going to say a few last words. Do you have anything, Anton, you want to say? Anything you want to plug? And Markuss after that?
Nothing at the moment.
Well, you should.
No.
Okay, well, you should actually check out Anton's website, right?
Oh, sure.
It's www.antonreal.com. Is that correct?
Yes. I'll write it in the... actually, you don't need the www, but that's okay.
antonreal.com. Yeah, you added that. Cool. So there's his site. Check that out. What have you got on there? Have you got anything interesting?
It's a little... There's actually several hours of music if you guys want to check some stuff out. Some commercials I've done, little things like that. And a couple of weeks ago, I kind of started a blog, but I'm really terrible at doing them, so don't expect too much.
Yeah, you should totally check that out. I need to check out your previous work as well. But anyways, I'm going to wrap this up now. So thanks, everyone, for watching today. And you need to, if you want to, get notified next time I do a stream, follow me here on justin.tv if you have an account. And if you want to get notified via Twitter when something happens to this, you can follow me on Twitter. It's www.twitter.com/OGWeekly. Could you actually type the links in the chat? That would be sweet. And
there's links below the video.
Oh, there are? Oh, yeah, there might be. Oh, yeah, if you're on www.OGWeekly.com, you can actually find all these links as well. But if you go, I'm also on YouTube, youtube.com/OGWeekly. I am also on Steam. If you want to get notified via Steam when a show is scheduled and when the show starts and anything else happens, go to steamcommunity.com/groups/sftuts. So steamcommunity.com/groups/sftuts. I need to make that a short URL somehow. So again, thanks everyone for watching. Next week there will be another episode, same place, same time. See you then. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
See you guys.